GMAT Exam Prep 2026. Are you worried about passing the big GMAT test that is coming up this year? I know you want to get into a good business school to build your future. We will work together today so you can learn the best ways to score high. You can get my complete practice test link in the description or the first comment. Use the discount coupon to get the complete practice questions for your big exam today. These questions come with full explanations, which will help you pass on the first try. Please leave suggestions in the comment section to improve my videos, and remember to subscribe. Welcome to the first part of our GMAT prep course, where we learn math today. I want you to feel relaxed, because we are going to study very simple steps. You will see many tricky questions on the test, but I will help you win. Many students feel scared of the math part, but you do not need to worry. We just need to practice basic numbers, and you will see how easy it is. When you look at a math problem, always take a deep breath before you start. You must read every single word in the question, so you do not miss details. Sometimes the test makers try to trick you with small words that change the meaning. If you rush through the reading part, you might pick the wrong answer by mistake. I want to teach you how to manage your time during the actual GMAT test. You only have a few minutes for each question, so we must work very smart. If a question is too hard, just guess the answer and move to the next. We will talk about fractions and percentages today, because they show up on the test. You need to know how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide big numbers very fast. Let us look at algebra, which is just using letters to stand for unknown numbers. You will solve for x and y, just like you did in your high school. I will show you some easy tricks, so you can find the answer much faster. Data insights will also be on your test, asking you to read charts and graphs. You must look at the pictures carefully and find the main numbers they are hiding. We will practice looking at bad data, and you will learn how to spot mistakes. I promise that if you study every day, your final test score will go up. You should take a practice test every week, so you know exactly where you stand. When you make a mistake, I want you to review it and learn from it. Do not let a bad practice score make you sad, because we are still learning. Every mistake is a chance to grow, and you will do better the next time. I am very proud of the hard work that you are putting into this test. Let us talk about the reading section, which tests how well you understand English words. You will read long stories, and then answer questions about the main idea of them. I want you to read the questions first, before you look at the long story. This little trick will save you time, because you know what to look for there. Always look for the main point the author is making, in the very first paragraph. The test will ask you about tiny details, so you must keep your eyes open. You also have to write an essay, where you explain your thoughts on a problem. You just need to write clear sentences, and make sure your spelling is mostly correct. I will give you a good format that you can use for any essay question. I know you have a busy life, but you must find time to study daily. Even 30 minutes of practice every single day will help your brain remember the rules. We are going to start with some practice questions now, so get your paper ready. I will read the question to you, and then I will give you the answer. Make sure you listen very closely, because the explanation will help you learn the trick. Let us jump right into the first question, and see how well you can do. You must remember that the GMAT adapts to you as you take the real test. If you get a question right, the next question will be a little bit harder. If you get a question wrong, the test will give you an easier math problem. Do not worry about how hard the questions are, just do your best every time. Your goal is to stay calm, read carefully, and pick the most logical answer choice. We will review some grammar rules later, so you can fix bad sentences very quickly. You need to know how verbs match their subjects in a long and tricky sentence. If the subject is singular, the verb must also be singular to make it correct. I will point out these grammar rules as we go through our special practice questions. Remember to drink water and get good sleep before you take the real GMAT exam. Your brain needs to rest so it can solve all these hard puzzles for you. I believe in you, and I know you can get a really high score today. Now we are moving to the questions, so please pay close attention to the screen. We will go through 18 questions, and I will explain every single one to you. 1. What is the value of x if 2 times x equals the number 20? The correct answer for this algebra problem is that x equals the number 10. You just divide both sides by 2, which leaves x alone as the number 10. 2. If a shirt costs $50 and is half off, what is the new price? The new price of the shirt is exactly $25 at the store today. You take the original price of $50 and divide it by 2 to get 25. 3. What does the reading section of the GMAT mostly want to test about your skills? It tests your ability to read English quickly and understand the main idea of texts. Business schools want to make sure that you can read long reports without getting lost. 4. If you have 3 apples and eat one, how many whole apples do you have? You will have exactly 2 whole apples left after you eat one of the apples. This is simple subtraction, where you take 1 away from 3 to get the answer. 5. Why is time management so incredibly important when you are taking the real GMAT test? You only have a little bit of time to finish every single question they ask. If you spend too much time on one problem, you will not finish the test. 6. How do you find the average of the numbers 2, 4, and the number 6? You add them all up to get 12, and then divide by 3 to get 4. Finding an average means adding the numbers together and dividing by how many numbers exist. 7. What is the very first step you should take when reading a long word problem? You must carefully read the last sentence to see exactly what they are asking you. Knowing the final question helps you find the right numbers in the big long story. 8. If a train travels 60 miles per hour, how far will it go in 2 hours? The fast train will travel exactly 120 miles in the 2 hours. You multiply the speed of 60 by the time of 2 hours to get distance. 9. What should you do if you are completely stuck on a very hard math problem? You should eliminate the obvious wrong answers, guess a reasonable number, and just move on. Wasting 10 minutes on one single math question will ruin your total score very quickly. 10. How do you find the area of a square if one side is 4 inches? You multiply the side length of 4 by the other side of 4, getting 16. The area of a square is just the length of one side, multiplied by itself. 11. What is the most common mistake students make during the data insights part of the exam. They do not read the labels on the charts and pick the completely wrong numbers. Always check the titles and the side labels before you start doing the math steps. 12. If x plus 5 equals 12, what is the exact value of the letter x? The exact value of the letter x is the lucky number 7 in this problem. You simply subtract 5 from the number 12 to find the hidden value of x. 13. Why does the test change the difficulty of the questions while you are taking it? The test wants to find your exact skill level by giving you harder or easier questions. If you answer correctly, it gets harder to see how smart you really are today. 14. What is 20% of the number 100 when you do the math fast? 20% of the number 100 is simply the number 20 on the dot. Percent means out of 100, so 20 out of 100 is just 20. 15. How can you prepare your brain and body the night before the real GMAT exam? You should eat a very good dinner, drink some water, and get 8 hours of sleep. A rested brain works much faster and will help you remember all the math rules. 16. If a triangle has a base of 10 and height of 2, what is the area? The total area of this specific triangle is exactly 10 square units on the paper. You multiply the base and height to get 20, and then cut it in half. 17. What is the best way to improve your score on the English reading section quickly? You should practice reading big business articles and write down the main idea every time. This trains your brain to find the most important facts without reading every single word. 18. What happens if you leave questions blank at the very end of your GMAT test? Your total test score will drop a lot because leaving questions blank is highly penalized. You should always guess the remaining answers before the big timer reaches 0 seconds left. You can get my complete practice test link in the description or the first comment. This is the second section, where we learn more about the big test. I am very happy to see you, ready to study hard for your future. We will talk about reading rules today, so you can pick the right answer. Many students find the reading part hard, but I will make it very simple. You just need to follow my steps, and your reading score will go up. When you look at a long paragraph, you must find the main idea first. The author always has a big reason for writing the story on your screen. I want you to look at the first sentence of every single paragraph carefully. This is where the main idea lives, most of the time on the test. You do not need to read every word, because that wastes your limited time. We are going to skim the text, which means looking for big important words. If you see a word like however, you know the author changed their mind. Words like therefore and because tell you that a big result is coming next. You must pay attention to these direction words, so you understand the whole story. I want you to practice finding these words when you read news on the internet. Let us talk about grammar rules now, which help you fix broken English sentences. The test will show you a long sentence with a line under some words. You have to decide if the underlined part is correct or if it is wrong. The most common grammar mistake they test is making the subject match the action. If you have a single cat, it runs very fast across the green grass. If you have many cats, they run very fast across the green grass today. You must always check the subject first, before you look at the action word. Another trick they use on the test is putting extra words in the middle. They try to confuse your brain by adding a long description after the subject. You should cross out the extra words so you can see the simple sentence. This will make it very easy for you to pick the right grammar answer. We also need to study math shapes, like circles and big triangles on paper. I know geometry can seem very scary, but we only need basic math formulas. You must remember that a circle has 360 degrees all around. A straight line is always 180 degrees, from start to finish. If you remember these two simple rules, you can solve many hard shape problems. I want you to draw the shapes on your scratch paper during the test. Do not try to solve shape problems just by looking at the computer screen. Drawing the picture helps your brain see exactly what the math problem is asking. We will practice drawing simple shapes together so you feel ready for exam day. Let us switch to data questions now, where you look at charts and graphs. They will give you a big table full of numbers about a fake company. You must read the titles of the table before you look at the numbers. The title tells you exactly what story the numbers are trying to show you. Sometimes they ask you to compare things, like the sales from 2 different years. You just need to find the right column and subtract the 2 small numbers. Do not let a huge table of data make you feel nervous or scared. You are very smart and you can do this if you take your time. I am going to teach you a secret about guessing on the real test. You should never leave a question blank, because you will lose many easy points. If you have 1 minute left today, just pick the same letter for everything. Picking letter C for the last 5 questions is better than leaving them blank. You might get lucky and win points, which will help your total school score. I want you to promise me today that you will practice guessing very fast. We have to train your brain to work under the pressure of a timer. When you take your practice tests at home, always use a real ticking clock. This will make the real exam day feel exactly like your normal practice time. You are doing a great job so far, and I am proud of you. Take a deep breath with me now, before we start the second question block. Let us talk about writing the essay, because that is also on the test. You will have to read an argument and find the logical mistakes inside it. You do not have to give your opinion about the topic on the screen. Your only job is to show the grader why the author made a mistake. You can point out that the author did not give enough proof or facts. You should write 3 strong paragraphs today to explain the mistakes you found there. Make sure you use transition words, like first and second, to organize your thoughts. A clear and simple essay is better than a long essay with spelling mistakes. I will give you a basic template that you can memorize before the test. If you use my simple essay template, you will get a very good score. Just fill in the blank spaces with the details from the computer screen prompt. You are building a very strong foundation for your big business school dreams today. You also need to understand probability rules to answer some tricky math questions today. Probability is just the chance of something happening, like flipping a small shiny coin. If you flip a fair coin once, you have a 50% chance to win. You can get heads or you can get tails, so it is 1/2. When they ask for 2 things happening, you just multiply the 2 chances together. If you flip the coin 2 times, the chance of 2 heads is smaller. You multiply 1/2 by 1/2, which gives you 1/4 as the answer. See how easy the math actually is when you break it into small steps. I want you to remember this rule whenever you see dice or spinning wheels. Another big topic is prime numbers, which are numbers only divided by 1 and themselves. The number 2 is the only even prime number in the whole entire world. Numbers like 3, 5, and 7 are also prime numbers you must memorize today. They will try to trick you with the number 9, but 9 is not prime. You can divide 9 by the number 3, so it does not fit the rule. Knowing your prime numbers up to 20 will save you so much time later. Now we are truly ready to begin the special practice questions for Section 2. Get your pencil and your paper ready to write down the right answers now. 1. What is the main idea of a reading paragraph on the big test? The main idea is the big point that the author wants to teach you. You can usually find this big point in the very first sentence you read. 2. How many degrees are in a full circle on a geometry math problem? A full circle always has exactly 360 degrees in total size. This is a strict math rule you must memorize to solve the shape puzzles. 3. If you have one cat, what kind of action word should you use? You must use a singular action word, like the word runs or the word sleeps. The subject and the action word must match, so the sentence sounds perfectly right. 4. What should you do with extra describing words in a grammar test sentence? You should cross out the extra words to see the basic sentence much better. Hiding the extra words helps your brain find the real subject and action word. 5. What is the chance of getting heads when you flip a fair coin? The chance of getting heads on a coin is exactly 1 out of 2. There are only 2 sides to the coin, so you have a half chance. 6. Is the number 9 a prime number on the math section of the test? The number 9 is not a prime number because you can divide it by 3. A prime number can only be divided by itself and the number 1 today. 7. Why should you read the title of a data table before looking at numbers? The title tells you what the whole chart is actually trying to show you. If you do not read the big title, you will not understand the math numbers. 8. What should you do if you only have 1 minute left on the test? You should pick the exact same letter for all the blank questions left behind. Guessing gives you a small chance to win points instead of getting a 0. 9. What is the main goal of the essay section on the business school exam? Your goal is to find the logical mistakes in the argument on your screen. You do not need to share your personal opinion, just explain the author's errors. 10. How many paragraphs should you write for a simple and good test essay? You should write 3 or 4 clear paragraphs to explain your thoughts very well. Having a clear start, middle, and end makes your essay very easy to read. 11. What direction word tells you that the author is going to change their mind? The word, however, tells your brain that the author is changing their original opinion. Paying attention to direction words helps you understand the true meaning of the story. 12. If a straight line is cut in half, how many degrees is each side? Each side of the cut line will be exactly 90 degrees on the paper. A straight line is 180, so half is just 90 degrees. 13. Why is the number 2 very special in the world of prime math numbers? The number 2 is very special because it is the only even prime number. Every other even number can be divided by 2, so they are never prime. 14. How do you find the probability of flipping 2 heads in a row today? You multiply 1/2 by 1/2 to get 1/4 as your answer. When you want 2 things to happen together, you must multiply their single chances. 15. What should you always use on your desk when taking a practice test at home? You should always use a real ticking clock to track your time very carefully. This trains your brain to work very fast, just like on real test day. 16. Why do test makers put long descriptions in the middle of a grammar sentence? They put long descriptions in the middle to make you forget the main subject. It is a trick to confuse your brain, so you pick the wrong action word. 17. If you skim a long reading story, what are you trying to find quickly? You are looking for the big important words and the main idea of it. Reading every single word takes too much time, so you must scan the page. 18. Where can you find my complete practice test to help you study even more? You can find the complete test link in the video description or the comments. I put the link there for you, so you can practice with full explanations. Section 3. Here we learn how to beat the hardest parts. I am so glad you are still here, because your hard work will pay off soon. Today we will focus on logic, which is a big part of the GMAT. Logic questions can feel like a game, or a puzzle that you need to solve. I want you to look for the evidence that the author uses to prove their point. If the evidence is weak, then the whole argument is likely to be wrong. You should always ask yourself if there is another reason for the result. Sometimes 2 things happen together, but one does not actually cause the other one. Identifying these logical gaps will help you find the right answer very quickly today. Let us talk about sentence correction again, because this section is very fast to finish. You should look for words that do not belong, like saying the same thing twice. If a sentence says, return back, you should just use the word return instead. The GMAT loves to test you on being concise, which means using fewer words. If 2 answer choices have the same meaning, the shorter one is usually the winner. I want you to practice cutting out words that do not add new meaning. We also need to look at data sufficiency, which is a very unique math part. You do not always have to find the final number to get the question right. You just need to decide if the information given is enough to solve it. This saves you a lot of time, because you can stop doing math early. If statement 1 gives you the answer, but statement 2 does not, pick letter A. If both statements together give you the answer, then you should pick letter C. I know this sounds a bit confusing now, but we will practice it together. Let us review some basic rules for exponents, which are those tiny little numbers. When you multiply numbers with the same base, you just add the exponents together. If you have 2 to the power of 3 and 2 to the power of 2, you just add 3 and 2 to get 2 to the power of 5. It is much easier than multiplying big numbers in your head during the test. I also want to talk about reading charts that have more than one line. You must follow each line carefully to see how the numbers change over time. Sometimes the lines cross each other, which means the 2 things became equal then. Do not let many lines on a graph make you feel like giving up today. Just take it one line at a time, and you will find the truth. I want you to stay positive, even when the questions feel very hard for you. If you feel your heart beating fast, just close your eyes for 5 seconds. A short break can reset your brain and help you focus on the next problem. You are training for a marathon, not a short race across the street. We will also look at critical reasoning, which tests how you think about problems. You will read a short paragraph and find the assumption the author is making. An assumption is something the author believes, but they did not actually say it. If you can find the hidden assumption, you can easily weaken or strengthen it. This is a very powerful skill that will help you in business school too. I want you to act like a detective, looking for the missing pieces. Let us talk about your study schedule as we get closer to the exam. You should spend more time on the topics that make you feel nervous. If you are great at math, spend more time reading every single day. Balance is the key to getting a very high total score on your test. I want you to review your old mistakes at least 2 times every week. If you understand why you were wrong, you will not repeat it again. We are going to start our 18 practice questions for this section right now. Please keep your focus on the screen and try to answer before I do. I am right here with you, and we will finish this part together. 1. What does the word concise mean when you are writing for the GMAT? It means using the fewest words possible to explain your idea very clearly. Using extra words makes your writing weak, so you should always keep it short. 2. What is an assumption in a logic question on the critical reasoning part? An assumption is a hidden belief that the author does not say out loud. You must find these hidden pieces to understand if the argument is actually strong. 3. In data sufficiency, do you always need to find the final math answer? No, you only need to decide if you have enough information to solve it. This helps you save time by letting you stop the math work much earlier. 4. If a sentence says, "She joined together the pieces," what is the mistake? The word "together" is not needed, because the word "joined" already means that. You should remove extra words that repeat the same meaning in a single sentence. 5. What do you do with exponents when you multiply 2 numbers with same bases? You should add the 2 exponent numbers together to find the new total. This is a fast way to solve math without doing big multiplication on your paper. 6. If 2 lines on a graph cross each other, what does that point mean? It means that both things being measured are exactly the same at that time. You can find the equal value by looking at the numbers on the side. 7. Why should you spend more time on the subjects that you find hard? You need to improve your weakest areas to get a higher total test score. Your score is based on everything, so you cannot ignore the parts you dislike. 8. What is the best way to handle a question that makes you feel nervous? You should take a 5-second break, breathe deeply, and then try it again. Calming your body helps your brain think and stops you from making silly mistakes. 9. If statement 1 alone is enough to solve, but statement 2 is not, you should pick the first answer choice, which is usually labeled as letter A. This is the standard rule for data sufficiency on the real business school exam. 10. What happens if you find a logical gap in an argument on the test? You can use that gap to show why the author's conclusion might be wrong. Finding mistakes in the logic is the best way to answer the reasoning questions. 11. If you have 5 to the power of 0, what is the value? Any number to the power of 0 is always equal to the number 1. This is a special math rule that you should memorize for the exponents part. 12. How do you strengthen an argument in the critical reasoning section of GMAT? You provide new facts or evidence that support the author's main idea today. More proof makes the argument stronger and harder for other people to argue. 13. What should you look for first when you see a sentence correction problem? You should look for the most common errors, like subject and verb matching. Most of the mistakes on the test are simple rules that we already learned. 14. How many hours should you sleep the night before you take your exam? You should try to get at least 8 hours of good and quiet sleep. Sleep helps your memory work better, so you can remember all the math tricks. 15. If a graph shows a line going down, what does that usually mean? It means that the value is decreasing or getting smaller over a long time. Reading the direction of the line tells you the story of the data numbers. 16. Why is it useful to act like a detective during the logic section? It helps you look for the missing evidence that the author forgot to include. Thinking like a detective makes the test fun and helps you find the truth. 17. What should you do with your old mistakes from your weekly practice tests? You should review them many times until you can solve them without any help. Learning from your mistakes is the fastest way to improve your score this month. 18. Where can you find the complete practice test with all the answers and explanations? The link is in the description of this video or in the first comment. You can get a discount coupon there to start practicing for your certification today. You can get my complete practice test link in the description or the first comment. Use the discount coupon to get the complete practice questions for your big exam today. These questions come with full explanations, which will help you pass on the first try. Section 4. Master the art of data and details. Welcome back to the fourth part of our big GMAT study journey today. You are doing such a great job, staying focused on your goals right now. We are going to talk about charts and how to read them very fast. Data Insights is a section that asks you to look at very messy tables. I want you to look for the units, like millions or thousands, before you start. If you do not check the units, your final math answer will be wrong. Always look at the key or the legend located on the side of the chart. The key tells you what every color and every symbol means in the picture. I want you to treat the data table like a map for a treasure hunt. The treasure is the correct answer, hidden behind all those big confusing numbers. You should use your finger or a pen to follow the rows across. This helps your eyes stay on track, so you do not mix up the values. Let us talk about ratios now, because they are very common in math. A ratio just compares two things, like 3 boys to every 4 girls. If you have 12 boys in total, you must find how many girls exist. You multiply the 4 girls by 4 to get 16 girls in the room. Ratios are just like fractions, and you can simplify them to be smaller. I want you to practice reducing ratios, so the math stays very simple today. We should also look at the verbal section and talk about the tone of stories. The tone is how the author feels about the topic they are writing about. Are they happy about the new law, or are they very angry instead? Finding the tone helps you predict what the author will say in the next part. If the tone is neutral, the author is just giving you cold facts. You must be careful with words that show a lot of strong human emotion. The GMAT usually uses a professional tone because it is a test for business. I want you to avoid answer choices that sound too angry or too excited. Those extreme answers are almost always wrong on the reading part of test. Let us jump back into geometry and talk about circles and their long edges. The distance around a circle is called circumference, and you need a special formula. You multiply the diameter of the circle by the math number we call pi. For the GMAT test day, you can just use 3 for the number pi. This makes the math much faster and helps you pick the closest answer choice. I want you to remember that area is the space inside the flat circle. You will need to multiply pi by the radius times the radius to find it. I know these formulas sound like a lot, but you will memorize them soon. Just write them down 10 times, and they will stay in your brain forever. We also need to talk about percentages and how they change over a time. If a price goes up by 10% and then down by 10%, most students think the price stays the same, but that is a big mistake. The second change happens to a new number, so the final price is lower. I want you to test this rule with the number 100 on paper. You will see that the math shows you a different result than you first thought. Always do the 2 steps separately to make sure you get the right number. We are building your math muscles today, so you can lift any heavy problem. I am very proud of the way you are handling these tricky math rules. Let us look at sentence structure and how to use the word which correctly. The word which should follow a comma and describe the noun right before it. If it is too far away, the sentence will sound very confusing to readers. You should practice moving words around to see if the meaning stays the same. The best sentences are the ones that flow like a calm and clear river. I want you to read the choices out loud in your head during the exam. If a sentence sounds funny or broken, it is probably not the right answer. Trust your ears because they have heard correct English for a very long time. We are getting very close to the end of our big section 4 today. You are becoming a master of logic, math, and reading all at once. I want you to take a sip of water and stretch your tired arms now. Your brain is a machine that needs fuel to keep working at top speed. We will now start the 18 questions for this part of our big course. Listen to the questions carefully and try to think of the answer very fast. I will give you the explanation so you can learn the secret trick inside. 1. What is the first thing you check when you see a table of numbers? You must check the units of measurement, like dollars or percent or millions. If you ignore the units, your math will be off by a huge amount. 2. What is the math word for the distance all the way around a circle? The correct word for that distance is called the circumference of the circle. It is like the perimeter of a square, but for a round shape instead. 3. If the ratio of cats to dogs is 2 to 3, what does it mean? It means for every 2 cats you find, there are 3 dogs there. Ratios help you compare two different groups, using very simple and small numbers. 4. How should you use the math number pi during the real GMAT exam? You can use the number 3 to make your multiplication much faster today. The test wants to see if you know the rule, not if you are a calculator. 5. What is the tone of most reading stories on the business school test? The tone is usually professional and neutral, rather than being very emotional or angry. Business schools want to see if you can understand serious and formal writing styles. 6. If a price of $100 goes up by 10%, what is it? The new price will be exactly $110 on the tag. 10% of 100 is 10, so you just add it to the start. 7. Why should you avoid extreme answer choices in the reading comprehension section? Extreme words like always or never are usually too strong to be correct. Authors are usually careful with their words, and they rarely use such strong language. 8. Where should the word which be placed in a correct English sentence today? It should be placed right after a comma and near the noun it describes. If it is too far from the noun, the reader will not understand the sentence. 9. What do you do if you see a chart with many different colored lines? You check the key or the legend to see what each color represents. The key is the map that tells you which line belongs to which data set. 10. How do you find the area of a circle if you know the radius? You multiply the radius by itself and then multiply by the number pi. This is the standard formula for area, and it is very important to memorize. 11. If a shirt costs $100 and it drops by 10%, the price will become $90 after you subtract the 10% discount. 10% of 100 is 10, so you take it away from the total. 12. What is a logical gap in a critical reasoning question on the test? It is a missing piece of information that connects the evidence to the conclusion. Finding the gap allows you to see why the argument might be very weak. 13. Why should you use your finger to follow a row on a data table? It prevents your eyes from jumping to the wrong row of data by accident. Small mistakes in looking at numbers can lead to the completely wrong answer choice. 14. What happens if you multiply a number by a fraction like 1/2? The number will get smaller because you are dividing it by the number 2. Multiplying by a fraction is the same as dividing by the bottom number today. 15. What is the difference between a diameter and a radius of a circle? The diameter goes all the way across, while the radius is only halfway across. The diameter is always exactly 2 times the length of the small radius. 16. Why is it important to be concise when writing your essay for GMAT? Being concise makes your writing stronger and much easier for the grader to read. Graders prefer clear and short sentences over long and confusing ones every time. 17. If a reading passage is about a new technology, what is the goal? The goal is usually to explain how it works or why it matters. Understanding the purpose of the passage helps you answer the big main idea questions. 18. How can you get more practice questions to help you pass the GMAT? You can click the link in the description to get my full practice course. The full course has many more questions, with very detailed explanations for you. Section 5. Cracking the Code of Complex Logic. Welcome back to the fifth part of our big GMAT prep journey, and I am so happy to see you. You are working very hard today, and that is why you will be a great business leader soon. We are going to talk about sets and groups, which is a very common math topic. Imagine you have a group of people, where some like tea and some like coffee instead. The test will ask you to find how many people like both of these drinks together. You can use a simple drawing of two circles that overlap in the middle of the page. This is called a Venn diagram, and it makes the math much easier for your brain today. You just add the two groups together, and then subtract the people who are in both. I want you to practice this drawing every time you see a question about overlapping groups. Let us switch to the verbal section and talk about how to find the author's purpose. The purpose is different from the main idea, because it focuses on why the story exists. Did the author write this to change your mind, or just to describe a new invention? I want you to look for active verbs, like to argue, or to explain, in the answer choices. If the author is giving many facts, the purpose is likely to inform the reader. If the author is criticizing a plan, the purpose is to challenge a specific idea. Finding the purpose helps you see the big picture, so the small details do not confuse you. We should also talk about speed, and how to read faster without losing the meaning. I want you to stop saying the words in your head while you read the screen. This is called sub-vocalization, and it slows down your brain quite a lot during the test. Try to look at groups of words at once, instead of reading one single word at a time. This little trick will give you more time to think about the hard questions later. Let us look at coordinate geometry, which is just math on a grid with lines. You will see an x-axis and a y-axis, and points that live on those two lines. You must remember that the slope of a line tells you how steep the hill is. If the slope is a positive number, the line goes up as you move to the right. If the slope is a negative number, the line goes down like a slide at the park. I want you to remember the formula for a line, which is y equals mx plus b. The letter m is the slope, and the letter b is where the line hits the middle. You can draw these lines very quickly to find where they cross each other on the grid. We are making great progress today, and your math skills are getting very sharp now. Let us talk about modifiers in grammar, which are words that describe other big words. A modifier must be placed right next to the thing that it is trying to describe. If it is in the wrong spot, the sentence will sound very silly to your ears. For example, you should not say, "I saw a dog riding a bike with a hat." This sounds like the dog is riding the bike, which is not what you meant. You should say, "Riding a bike, I saw a dog wearing a small hat," to be clear. The GMAT loves to test these misplaced modifiers because they are very common in bad writing. I want you to always ask yourself, who is doing the action in the opening phrase? This will help you pick the right answer on every single sentence correction question. We also need to talk about weighted averages, which are a bit harder than normal ones. A weighted average happens when one group is much bigger than the other group in math. You cannot just add the two numbers and divide by 2 to get the answer. You must multiply each number by its weight before you add them all up together. This is how your final school grades are usually calculated by your teachers every single year. I will show you a fast way to do this, using a simple number line. If you visualize the numbers on a line, you can see which side the average pulls. This visual trick saves you from doing a lot of long and boring math calculations. You are becoming a very efficient test taker, and I am so proud of you. Let us look at critical reasoning again, and talk about how to strengthen an argument. To make an argument stronger, you must find a fact that removes a possible doubt. If someone says a new medicine works, because people got better very fast today, a strong fact would be that these people did not take any other medicine at all. This proves that the new medicine was the real reason they feel so healthy now. I want you to look for these supporting facts when you read the answer choices. You are almost at the finish line of our Section 5 study session right now. I want you to keep your energy high and stay focused for these last few minutes. We are going to go through 18 questions to test what you have learned today. Listen to each question carefully and try to find the hidden trick I taught you. I will explain the answer clearly so you can remember it on your real exam. 1. What is a Venn diagram used for in the math section of the GMAT? It is used to organize groups that overlap or share the same members together. Drawing two circles helps you see how many people belong to both groups at once. 2. What is the main difference between the purpose and the main idea today? The purpose is why the author wrote it, while the main idea is the topic. The purpose explains the goal, like trying to convince you to buy a product. 3. Why should you stop saying words in your head while you read the test? Saying words in your head slows you down and prevents you from reading fast. Your brain can process images and groups of words much faster than your voice. 4. In the formula y equals mx plus b, what does the letter m represent? The letter m represents the slope, which shows how steep the math line is. A bigger M means a steeper line, while a smaller m means a flatter line. 5. What is a misplaced modifier in a sentence correction question on the test? It is a descriptive phrase that is placed too far from the noun it describes. This makes the sentence confusing, because it seems to describe the completely wrong thing. 6. How do you calculate a weighted average if the two groups are different sizes? You multiply each value by its weight before you add them and divide them. You cannot just find the middle, because the bigger group has more power today. 7. What is the best way to strengthen an argument about a new medical cure? You should find a fact that shows no other factors caused the good result. Removing other reasons makes the main reason look much stronger and more likely true. 8. If a slope is a negative number, which way does the line go? The line goes down from the left side to the right side of the grid. Negative slope means the value is falling as you move across the math chart. 9. What does the letter B represent in the line formula y equals mx plus b? The letter B is the y-intercept, where the line crosses the middle vertical line. This tells you where the line starts, when the x value is exactly 0 today. 10. How can you find the people who like both tea and coffee using math? You add the tea and coffee groups, then subtract the total number of people. This math trick removes the double counting, so you get the correct shared number. 11. What kind of verb should you look for when finding the author's purpose? You should look for active verbs, like to criticize, or to advocate, or to inform. These verbs describe the action the author is taking, with their written words today. 12. If a sentence starts with, walking down the street, what must come next? The person who was actually walking must be the very next noun in the sentence. If you put a mailbox next, it sounds like the mailbox was walking down the street. 13. Why is sub-vocalization a bad habit for students taking the big GMAT test? It limits your reading speed to the speed of your own speaking voice today. To finish the test on time, you must read faster than anyone can actually talk. 14. What does it mean if an argument has a circular logic mistake? It means the author uses the conclusion to prove the very same starting point. This is a weak way to argue, because it does not provide any new evidence. 15. If a line is perfectly horizontal, what is the value of the slope m? The value of the slope m is 0, because the line is not steep. Since the line does not go up or down, the slope is just 0. 16. How can a number line help you with a hard-weighted average problem? It helps you see which number the average is going to be closer to today. The average will always be pulled toward the group that has the most weight. 17. What should you do if an answer choice sounds very funny or weird? You should probably avoid it, because the GMAT prefers clear and formal English sentences. Your natural ear for language can often spot a bad grammar mistake very quickly. 18. Where can you leave suggestions to help me make even better videos for you? You should leave your suggestions in the comment section below this video right now. I read every single comment to make sure you are learning in the best way. You can get my complete practice test link in the description or the first comment. Use the discount coupon to get the complete practice questions for your big exam today. Section 6, Final Strategy and Success Mindset. Welcome to our final section together. I am so proud of you for making it all the way to the end of this big study session. You have the knowledge and the tricks, and now we just need to talk about your game plan for the real test day. The most important thing on test day is managing your energy levels. You will be sitting in a quiet room for a long time, so you must stay awake and alert. I want you to take the small breaks that the test offers you. Even if you do not feel tired, stand up and stretch your legs for a few minutes. Let us talk about the process of elimination, which is your best friend on hard questions. If you do not know the right answer, look for the 4 answers that are definitely wrong. It is much easier to find a mistake than it is to find perfection. If you cross out 3 wrong choices, you have a much better chance of winning. When you look at the screen, do not let a long sentence or a big math problem scare you. Break every problem into small, tiny pieces that are easy to handle. If a math problem has big numbers, try to use smaller numbers in your head to see if the logic works. This is a great way to double-check your work before you click the next button. I want to talk about your mindset when you face a very difficult question. Sometimes the test gives you a hard problem just to see if you will waste your time. If you spend 5 minutes on one question, you are hurting your chances for the rest of the test. It is okay to guess and move on, so you can answer the easier questions waiting at the end. You are a smart and capable person, and you have prepared very well for this moment. Believe in yourself and the hard work you have put in during these 6 sections. When you walk into that testing center, hold your head high because you are ready. I know you will do a great job and get the score you need for your future. We are going to finish with our last 18 practice questions now. These questions cover everything we have learned, from circles to grammar to logic. Try your very best, and let us finish this course strong together. 1. Why is the process of elimination so helpful on a hard test? It is easier to find what is wrong than it is to find the perfect right answer. Removing the bad choices increases your odds of picking the correct one. 2. What should you do during the scheduled breaks on the real exam? You should stand up, stretch your body, and clear your mind for a few minutes. Breaks help reset your focus so you can stay sharp for the entire duration. 3. How should you handle a question that is taking too much of your time? You should make your best guess and move on to the next question quickly. Your time is limited, and wasting it on one hard problem can lower your total score. 4. What is a good way to handle big, scary numbers in a math problem? You can try using smaller, simpler numbers to see if the logic of the problem works. Simplifying the numbers helps your brain understand the steps you need to take. 5. Why is it important to break long sentences into small pieces? Small pieces are easier to understand and help you spot grammar mistakes faster. Reading a long sentence all at once can make you miss the simple subject-verb errors. 6. What should you do if you feel very nervous during the middle of the test? You should take a deep breath and remind yourself of all the studying you did. Staying calm is just as important as knowing the math formulas. 7. How does guessing help your total score on the GMAT? It ensures you do not leave any blanks, which could lower your score unnecessarily. There is no penalty for guessing, so it is always better to pick an answer. 8. What is the benefit of looking for the author's tone in a reading passage? It helps you predict what the author will say and which answers fit their style. A neutral author will likely have a neutral and professional answer choice. 9. Why should you practice with a real clock at home? It trains your brain to feel the speed of the test, so you do not run out of time. Speed and accuracy must work together for you to get a high score. 10. What does it mean to be concise in your writing? It means using the shortest way to say something clearly and accurately. Short, clear sentences are much better than long, confusing ones. 11. If a math problem asks for a sum, what operation should you perform? You should add all the numbers together to find the total amount. Knowing the math vocabulary is the first step to solving the problem correctly. 12. How many sections did we cover in this complete GMAT preparation series? We covered 6 sections in total, starting from the basics to advanced logic. Each section was designed to build your skills step by step. 13. What should you do the morning of your big exam? You should eat a healthy breakfast and arrive at the center early. Being early and well-fed helps you stay calm and focused on the screen. 14. Is it better to read every word or to skim a reading passage first? You should skim for the main idea first, then look for details only when asked. Skimming saves you time that you will need for the hard questions. 15. What is the subject of a sentence in a grammar question? The subject is the person or thing that is performing the main action. Finding the subject is the first step to checking if the action word is correct. 16. How do you find the area of a square if you know one side? You multiply the length of the side by itself to find the inside space. Squares have 4 equal sides, so the math is very simple and fast. 17. Why do we review our old mistakes every single week? Reviewing mistakes ensures that we do not make the same errors on the real test. Learning from your past is the best way to improve your future performance. 18. Where can you find more help if you still have questions about the test? You can leave a comment below or click the link for the full practice test. I am here to help you succeed in your education and your business career. You can get my complete practice test link in the description or the first comment. Use the discount coupon to get the complete practice questions for your big exam today. These questions come with full explanations, which will help you pass on the first try. Please leave suggestions in the comment section to improve my videos, and remember to subscribe. Good luck with your study, and I know you will succeed.